What's going on, everyone? Today we're exploring Glenwood Springs, a mountain town 2.5 hours west of Denver filled with geothermal hot springs. However, there's much more to Glenwood than its hot springs. In this video, I'll be sharing the best hikes, places to visit, and activities to do here. This will be a comprehensive travel guide. Before we start, make sure to hit that subscribe button, but without further ado, let's just dive right in. This is my top 10 places to visit and things to do in Glenwood Springs, Colorado. First up, of course, is going to be Glenwood Hot Springs itself. Couldn't start this list with anything other than the most famous thing in town. The pools are $43 for adults, $28 for kids ages 3 to 12, and it's free for infants. These are the prices for peak weekdays and weekends. Otherwise, during the value season, adults are $32 and kids are $22. However, I've visited the pools a handful of times over the last 8 years, and prices do change sometimes. Glenwood Springs is one of the first places Bree ever took me to in Colorado, so it has a special place in my heart. The pools are just that, pools. You don't exactly get the natural geothermal hot springs feel when you're here, and I swear over the years the sulfur smell that you used to get when you drove into town isn't really there anymore. However, the pools are so much fun and it's still 100% worth the visit, and they've actually been expanding and adding pools, slides, and additional kid areas, so this is the perfect activity for families, and kids can have their fun in the kid areas, and adults and couples can relax and enjoy soaking in the 90 to 93 degree main pool. I do also like that there's lap lanes and a large diving board in the main pool. I think that itself is very unique to any hot springs that I've been to, so I think that's a cool feature that they have. Next up is going to be taking a day trip to Rifle Falls and Rifle Gap Reservoir. Rifle Falls is roughly a 40-minute drive from Glenwood Springs, but it's one of the coolest waterfalls in the state of Colorado. There's 3 main cascading waterfalls surrounded by vibrant, lush green vegetation. There's also some caves in the park that are very cool to explore. This is a great stop for family, but really I'd recommend Rifle Falls to everyone, and you can even camp there if you'd like. Now you can hike in the park, but it's mostly just circling the waterfalls, so every hike is very short, and 10 minutes southwest of the waterfalls is Rifle Gap Reservoir, which is a stunning blue and green body of water just north of the town of Rifle. If you're going to make the day trip to come and see the waterfalls, you have to make sure that you at least do a roadside stop here as well. Next up, in the heart of the town, we're going to be taking the gondola up Iron Mountain. This is a beautiful way to get an aerial view of the town, and who doesn't love a good gondola ride? The ride itself is only 5 minutes, but it's scenic the entire way. It costs $30 per person, but the next 2 things on this list will be branched off of this gondola ride, and there's a few different ticket options that bundle multiple activities together, so I will break those down in just a second. But for the gondola ride itself, it is open year-round. Just make sure to check the weather and conditions when you book it. Next up are the Glenwood Caverns cave tours. To access the caves, you have to take the gondola up Iron Mountain. Because the caves are at the top, the same goes to the adventure park, which I will cover in just a second. To purchase a bundled gondola and caves tour pass, it's going to cost you $46, but this will include a tour to both the Fairy Cave and the King's Row Cave on top of the gondola ride. The caves are stunning, and the tours are always a fun way to learn about the history of the mountain, the caverns themselves, the minerals that you can find here, and the formations are just beautiful. It is also worth noting that you cannot visit the caves without a guided tour. The last thing to do in Glenwood Springs that's going to be bundled with the previous 2 activities is the Glenwood Adventure Park. Essentially, this one company owns and operates the gondola, the cavern tours, and the adventure park. But they're all individual activities, so I thought they all deserved their own place on this list. However, if you purchase a Summer Fun Day pass that includes everything, it's going to cost you $69 per person. And honestly, if you're doing any of these activities, I highly recommend that this is the ticket you get, but make sure you set aside enough time, because to do all of this, you're going to need at least 6 hours, so it is a full day outing. And if you're visiting in the winter, the bundled ticket for everything is called the Winter Fun Day Pass, which is discounted to $52 per person, and this is because some attractions and rides are closed in the winter. For the adventure park, you'd think that this might only be a family-friendly thing, but I have to say, Bree and I had so much fun here. At number 6, we're heading out of town for a scenic drive through Glenwood Canyon. The canyon connects the town of Glenwood Springs and Docero. It's a 15-mile canyon that makes for a beautiful drive where you're going to be surrounded by 1,300-foot canyon walls right above the Colorado River. It's the largest canyon in northern Colorado. As the drive winds through the canyon walls, you're going to have amazing views the entire drive, and during the summer, you're likely going to see people whitewater rafting down the river. I've never done this, but it does look like a lot of fun, and some people also like to bike through the canyon, which might even be a cooler way to visit the canyon rather than just driving through it. In the past, there have been mudslides closing down the highway, and it can be a dangerous drive in bad conditions, so make sure to check the forecast beforehand. It definitely could get a little dicey if it was snowing, but it does have to be one of my favorite drives in the state. At number 7, we're going to be hiking Hanging Lake. The trailhead is actually smack dab in the middle of Glenwood Canyon. It's such a beautiful hike. It's 3 miles round trip with roughly 1,200 feet of elevation gain. However, all of that elevation gain is in 1 mile, so after you walk along the river for the first half mile of the trail, the hike's just going to go straight uphill after that until you make it to the lake. And due to the crowds, you do need a permit to hike this trail, but it's very easy to get this. Permits can be purchased on Visit Glenwood's website. Between May and October, they're $12 per person, and during November and February, it's $10 per person, and both of these options include self-parking at Hanging Lake Rest Area, which is the trailhead. If you're hiking this on a weekend during the summer, I'd recommend getting the permit ahead of time, but on a weekday or off season, you should be fine getting the permit last minute. The water at Hanging Lake is crystal clear and a beautiful aqua blue and green. That mixed with the lush vegetation and cascading waterfalls makes this one of the most beautiful places in Colorado. It looks like a scene out of Croatia's Plitvice National Parks. Also, a short hike past the lake is a waterfall called Spouting Rock, which is a beautiful waterfall that comes right out of the mountain. Next up, we're going to be visiting a lesser-known destination right off of I-70, and that is Dolores Crater. The crater is an active volcano that's 700 meters wide and 400 meters deep. It's close to the junction of the Colorado River and the Eagle River, and it was created from basaltic eruptions. And while this is the last remaining active volcano in Colorado, you don't need to worry, the last eruption was 4,200 years ago. Now, if you have four-wheel drive, you can drive practically all the way to it. Otherwise, you're going to need to park before the road gets bad and hike up to the crater. And it is very important to note that this is not the same hiking trail as the Dolores Ute Trail. The Crater Trail doesn't show up on all trails. We used Onyx Backcountry for navigation. If you search the volcano hike on all trails, the only hike that's going to pop up is the Ute Trail, but this is private property and the owners do not want anyone on it, so please respect that. The crater is a few miles east of the Ute Trail, so make sure you're hiking the right trail. At number 9, we're going to have a relaxing day at the Yampa Vapor Caves. No cameras are allowed, so we don't really have much footage of this, but wow, this place is awesome. It felt like we got transported to Eastern Europe. I can't believe how many years it took us to actually come here. The Vapor Caves are natural underground hot mineral steam baths, and it's the best way to relax and unwind. Also, it's pretty affordable. To visit the Vapor Caves for 2 hours, it is only $20 per person. I thought that this was a great deal. Although this is all we did here, I should mention that they also have spa packages that include mineral baths, facials, massages, skin and nail services, and a few other things with a ranging price list. But if you just want to go in the caves, $20 a person. Last up at number 10, we're going to be soaking at Iron Mountain Hot Springs. The main hot springs in town are the Glenwood Hot Springs that I already mentioned. Those were established in 1888, but Iron Mountain is a new hot springs destination that didn't open up until 2015. These hot springs are much more modern compared to Glenwood's, with pristine landscaping across its riverside pools. Glenwood Hot Springs is very relaxed and doesn't need a reservation, whereas Iron Mountain you do need a reservation, a time slot, things sell out, and at least in our experience, the customer service wasn't that great or helpful. General access to Iron Mountain ranges between $36 and $52 for a 3-hour soak with their 19 main pools. They also have a World Springs area with 13 additional pools inspired by hot springs across the globe. This is also an adult-only area. The last type of ticket that they sell is an all-day soaking pass that includes all 32 pools, and the prices for this range between $100 and $150. I have to be honest, these hot springs felt more like hot pools. I didn't get that natural mineral smell, feel, or touch while soaking. Don't get me wrong, the property is absolutely beautiful and you can't beat the riverside view, but when I soak in hot springs, I really like feeling the natural geothermal beauty and feeling all of the minerals. Would I come here again? In a heartbeat, but I thought that this was worth bringing up because it did kind of just feel like a bunch of hot tubs. Anyways, that is going to wrap up my top 10 places to visit and things to do in Glenwood Springs. It'd be a shame to end this video without mentioning Colorado Donuts. Probably pronouncing that wrong, but it's the best donut shop I've been to in all of Colorado, and it's right here in Glenwood Springs. The Corona is unbelievable. Definitely need to stop here while you're visiting. Anyways, if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. Check out some of my other Colorado-specific top 10s and travel guides and some of the other videos on the channel. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.